Hello there, I'm Davis Murphy, station manager of Demon FM. I'm also a bit of a technical wizard sometimes, and I do a bit of other stuff. Yes, I'm here to show you about the wonders of this desk that we use, or you may use in other radio stations across the UK. It is a very used desk. It's a very common desk. It's a sonifex. We've got those different versions of it, different sizes of desk you can get. This is sort of your control type desk that we can put multi-faders in to control other studios. There's a smaller versions which you might see in a bit, which obviously is the sort of standard what you would use for your smaller studio perhaps. There's even bigger ones that encompass all sorts of plugins, whether it be from DJ sets and everything. But we'll show you how they all plug into all the different things you will see around. But as you can see, lots of lights on. Green is for go. The motto is green for go. Program at the top. Program means obviously to program music, program your voice. So they're on green, so that every single fader you see on here, every strip being a fader, works whenever you want to turn it up, put it up. You'll always have things sectioned off. You can put the faders however you want to be in whatever order, but obviously to make it useful and easier to understand for members, you put things together. So for example, the microphones are together, corresponding to the microphones that you see before you. Two microphones, left and right. The faders are left and right at the moment. Again, green's for go. Program is on. They're on a red, but they're on standby, as you would stand by a TV or anything like that. If you wanted to have them on, then you just turn them up. And I'm speaking. Whoop, whoop, hey, world, I'm on the air. And that's enough of that. Of course, you've also got our playout systems all together as well. They're bunched up, paired up, as you will. Anything you wanted to play out, like that, for example, is coming out through one fader of its own. You can each fader can control a certain thing you want to listen to. So it keeps you good with two hands, or even one hand if it's all close together. Of course, you can even have music playing out and play a bit of an ident. Yes, and that's coming out from its own as well. So you've got a bit of everything there. And obviously, we can control the volume at any time with a nice little trim over here at the top. That's called the general volume. If you had headphones, normally we would recommend headphones whenever you're speaking the microphone. A lot of the things that are explained here will require headphones in order for you to actually listen to what you're hearing. But that's again the volume for the headphones. There's other sorts of faders. These are, because as I said, this is more of a control desk. You can control other studios with it. For example, you can hear what's coming out of other studios. So if I were to turn this up, that's what's actually coming out from another studio. The studio that's just over there. You can do the same with any other studios around there. That's not the only use for them, however. You can patch them in to other systems. So faders can control a number of sources from throughout this room. For example, radio free, suitably labelled here. You can label them however you want, depending on what you want to plug into them. You can plug anything you want: your laptop, your DJ mixer set, any extra mics. Radio free, or what as we call it, the table mics at the back there. You can see a number of extra mics where guests would talk to, all coming through one simple fader. Job done. So you can speak through there. Radio 4, you've got the DJ units, which is just located behind me. For anybody who wants to play vinyls, we'll bring CDJs in as well and put their laptops in. And we've got another one that goes straight to either another studio that's in another building, or into our live recording room, where obviously bands can play live in there. So it's helpful. A couple of more important things you should always have, monitor whatever desk you should have, sonifex or otherwise. This is a general output, the master output for anything. Program output, obviously, as I said, PGM, that's what you will hear through the desk at all times. Audition as well, because that's what the system hears on the computer. Rivendell, obviously that's free software we use, but it's programmed through the desk to be noted whenever you want to record anything. So it goes through Audition. Audition, leave it on if you want to record anything through the system. Program is what you hear, Audition is what the system hears. If you want to hear what the audience is hearing live, another extra useful button here, External 1, EXT means external. Again, you're hearing what's coming out from another studio. That's what the audience are hearing right now. Program is you, EXT is external. Internal, external, that sort of thing. You can even check your levels. This uses what every desk should have, especially sonifex, will always have a series of levels, which whenever you're playing something, you can always check. What we recommend with our radio station particularly is that things just stay around the 6 mark for music. Speaking stays normally around the 5 mark, but you can always test it with CR monitor. Red is normally not used for, I mean, green's for go, but red is normally used to test things or things on standby, so that's the special thing there. And everything's labelled accordingly. You'll always like to keep that, so just to remind your members. Some other use for this, obviously you've got 2 fades, especially with this desk set up with 2 phones. You've got 2 phone faders, so you can actually phone somebody, just leave it off the hook there once you've phoned them, and turn the fader up. You have 2 phones, 2 at once. Yes, so you can all through several faders. You can have 2 mics, people on the back mics, 2 phones, all speaking at once, all having a lovely chat with each other. Lots of phones here, there, and everywhere. There are a few a bit advanced features. People don't use them that often, but they're only in the cases if there's anything wrong with the sound quality. Say if you're peaking, say as I said with the control monitor, you're too loud, it's going up to the 7s. You may want to trim it down, which is useful here. You can obviously this is trim. The green, usually colour coded as well, which really helps. It's always helpful to colour code your desks, because you need to know obviously what does what. So for example, green here, trim, normally be in the same place. This obviously can make it so it's not peaking, or turn it up if it's a bit quiet. What's below it is balance, so obviously balance just means left and right, so keep it balanced. Say if it was one of the faders there was going too much to the right, you would just play it to the left a bit, so the left speaker would come into the left a bit, but obviously then be aware of the next song, because you have to turn it back to normal. What we recommend with all faders, they stay to 10. Oh, the phone's still there. Stay till 10. Most standard systems will be set like that. We've actually set ours up to the top, but obviously then they can be trimmed down. But most stations you'll find will go to the 10, obviously, to allow with the music. You might want to turn the music down and have your faders up, so you're speaking of the music and not fighting with the music. Equalizer. Anything goes wrong with the song, anything with the song quality, there's not enough bass, slap the bass, and anything that you can't hear the song properly, then obviously you want to EQ it. Just get the levels right. Not only levels right, but obviously make sure you can hear the bass. What's the other one? You've got the bass and treble, yes, bass and treble. They both work together. They're a combo there. Make sure you have your EQ light on whenever you're going to edit them, but you can leave them on for however long you want for, or just to test it and then turn off again. That just an extra bit of work to a song, obviously, depending on the way it's been uploaded. But you can also have 2 sources if you wanted to, so you can have it from live and then have it live from another source as well, if you've got an extra signal coming through, extra stream. And one more thing is the cue ability. If you want to practice anything beforehand, you've got the ability to cue. So the music should be going out now. If we have some music going out, this is going out. I can just press cue at any time, and it's about me now. It's all about me. I'm just speaking, but that's not what the audience would hear. The audience would hear music. The same could be said if you wanted to practice something like the sound panel. You could press this. Make sure your fader's down, of course, and but that wouldn't affect the audience, because you turn it back off. Music's playing. You. And that's virtually all the buttons on there. There's a few other things that do correspond to it. You've got your patch bay over here, which obviously, as I said, with most of the faders, it's been set up already, but you can obviously set up to other systems if you had extra mics you wanted to put in for any recording use. If you wanted to patch in any other piece of individual equipment, you can program that into the desk itself. You can do it through to the walls. Everything's all connected, and everything comes through to the desk in the central area. And obviously it's got a nice little headphone port here. We've got an extra headphone port, collection of ports down under the desk there, but you can connect a series of headphones, like a multi-headphone jack, and then have up to like 4 headphones there. So you have a collection of at least 8 headphones going. So that's roughly your connections there. You've got your talkback level, which obviously corresponds to general all over levels of whatever you do, and PFL levels is the same, which is PFL. Yeah, PFL levels is basically anything you would play out, and the levels of the general what the audience would hear. So that is basically all your virtual normal desks. Obviously, smaller desks will not include most of these faders. They'll include your bog standard 2 mics, 1 phone, and your play out of beds. But obviously you've got bigger ones, bigger desks as well that do encompass obviously space for more computers and more faders for whatever you want. So you can even though this is a blank here, maybe one day this could be an IRN fader which programs news automatically from a different source into your playout system. So you could have news from anywhere, any company that you want to use it from. ISDN is another one which enables phone interviews, basically like a phone line, but instead it's basically like basic line to a studio with somebody who's ready to talk to you. So that's basically the uses. It can be internal, it can be external, all through the ability of one desk. I've been Dave Smith.